A Charlotte activist is under a federal investigation accused of taking advantage of homeless people to defraud Medicaid.
He's also a self-proclaimed homeless advocate.
I truly feel that the city of Charlotte needs to be held accountable.
Now feds say they want to hold Cedric Dean accountable. Feds say Cedric Dean Holdings built the Medicaid program at least $14.5 million from September 2024 to June 2025 and received nearly $9 million.
You've seen some activists claiming to help the homeless, but what if one of them was actually using the homeless to steal millions of dollars? And a well-known community leader is being accused of turning his nonprofits into a front for Medicaid fraud. If these allegations are true, and they look like they probably are, it's not just about the stolen money, it's about just being the absolute worst person ever. We're going to be reacting to this video, breaking down how federal agents said how this scam worked and how it went unnoticed for years. Let's get into it.
I'm Scott Wickersham.
And I'm Hannah Getz. Chopper 9 Sky Zoom captured investigators at two properties owned by Cedric Dean. Now, Dean has been well documented through the years. He is the founder of Save Sons Against Violence Everywhere. He's also a self-proclaimed homeless advocate.
So I did not know this until that picture showed up. I'm going to show you something really quick, guys. The same man that was supporting this councilwoman that she has been accused of fraud. Let me show you a little bit about that right now.
We're never free. There's a system that keeps us inside of a system. So 30 years ago, you could erase that.
Charlotte City Councilwoman Tijuana Brown and her daughters have been indicted on federal charges, according to the U.S. Attorney's Office. Federal officials say Brown and her daughters then spent the money on personal expenses, including a lavish birthday party.
Then came with the racial and political angle, pointing out that a white-owned business called Hillbilly Barbecue, that wasn't charged.
And you in a pandemic trying to make all this, it's common sense. I get it. You got to ask the questions, right? But at the end of the day, please ask the question to the U.S. Attorney why that company, Hillbilly Barbecue, was allowed, when they didn't pay it back, was allowed to go to civil court instead of criminal court.
So off the bat, bad look, because that councilwoman probably committed fraud. So there's already a really bad look for this individual. Let's continue.
Dean says he has bought single-family homes to turn into group homes and that he ran a program at this hotel where he says he tried to provide food, shelter, and treatment for people in need. Well, now court documents say Dean obtained Medicaid information from people at some shelters and then turned that into money for himself.
Channel 9's Joe Bruno is live tonight at the federal courthouse. Joe.
Well, feds here say that Cedric Dean would only give homeless people housing or meals if they provided him with their Medicaid information.
What a piece of garbage.
You might recognize Dean from some of our past stories. He claims that he's an advocate for the homeless, but now he's accused of using the homeless for his own personal gain.
I truly feel that the city of Charlotte needs to be held accountable.
Now feds say they want to hold Cedric Dean accountable. In June, we met to do an interview in front of the community activist's house on Youngblood Road in the Palisades neighborhood. Today, feds paid a visit. They want the government to seize it, saying he bought it with money tied to a health care and Medicaid fraud
That's a really nice house. Really big house.
scheme. Feds say they spoke to 8 witnesses who either worked or lived in one of Cedric Dean's properties, and they told investigators that Dean and his workers would get Medicaid information from people living on the street or in homeless encampments.
Let me know in the comments below, is there any activist out there that is not scamming people? I mean, every single day we're getting more and more stories about how these people are out here pretending to care for the people, but they're stealing, they're taking advantage, they're scammers. They're using activism as a scam. It's a front for taking advantage of a situation. So this guy is finding homeless people off the street, taking their Medicaid information, and then using it to enrich himself. Just garbage.
Feds say Dean used that information to submit claims for services that were not provided. In one case, they say he claimed to have provided 54 services for someone who was dead.
Terrible. Just 54 claims for a dead person. Way to go.
Feds say Cedric Dean Holdings billed the Medicaid program at least $14.5 million from September 2024 to June 2025 and received nearly $9 million. This graphic, provided in court documents, shows how some of the money was routed to accounts that were used to pay for cars and houses. Those houses included the Youngblood property, a house on McChesney Drive in the Highland Creek area, plus 2 homes in Shelby.
Look at all those homes. Now, are homeless people living in those homes? So he's taking millions of dollars from Medicare. Is he housing them? I don't think so. I guess it's just his properties. So he's scamming not only the federal government, but he's scamming the very people that he claims to help.
Feds are now trying to seize them along with 5 vehicles and all the cash in the bank accounts where the Medicaid money was stored. The feds are also pointing out Dean's income. They say from 2018 to 2024, he earned a total of $164,000. But then last fall and winter, his income increased to $10,000 a week.
So for a few years, the man barely made any money. Then all of a sudden, the man is making $10,000 a week. How is he going to explain this sudden jump in income? Did he start a rap career? Does he play for an NBA or NFL team? Is he in the stock market? What kind of job did this man possess all of a sudden that's making $10,000 a week?
Now, it is important to note that he is not facing any criminal charges at this point. That investigation is still ongoing.
He will probably get indicted by the feds. They don't raid your house unless something is going on. They raided multiple properties. He is probably going to get indicted.
I reached out to Cedric today, but he did not message me back. Reporting live in Uptown, Joe Bruno, Channel 9 Eyewitness News.
All right, Joe, thank you. Now, Cedric Dean has already spent more than 28 years in prison in 2 separate convictions. At age 16, he was convicted of robbery and spent 5 years in state prison. He was later convicted of selling crack cocaine and spent time in federal prison before being released in 2017. CMPD arrested Dean back in May for misdemeanor breaking and entering. But the report noted Dean has been charged with previous violent and property crimes, including assault with a deadly weapon and kidnapping.
This guy is the worst. Well, I guess he's going to spend the rest of his life in jail. He probably should spend the rest of his life in prison. The man can't control himself. He has found any way possible to take advantage of people and rob them. Second-degree kidnapping, armed robbery, breaking and entering. So this is his life, to be a piece of crap, garbage human being.
And earlier this year, a woman and her baby died while staying at the North Charlotte hotel he operated. Dean said the death was the fault of a previous manager's responsibility. He also used a Fayetteville hotel to help the homeless, and that one was shut down for permit issues. Now, Medicaid fraud can be easy to commit because the Medicaid office presumes all claims are accurate. Typically, a person...
Great job, Medicaid. They're all accurate. It's easy because they don't care to do any work to verify anything.
And hands over their Medicaid information at a doctor's office or treatment center. Now, that provider is supposed to give treatment and then sends the bill to Medicaid, and Medicaid sends money to the doctor's office or treatment center to reimburse them. In this case, though, the feds say the people were not getting the treatment. You can find our complete coverage of today's raid on Cedric Dean's properties, plus the previous convictions and allegations against him on WSOCTV.com.
Well, now at 6, we are learning.
So this individual could have had the perfect redemption arc. A man who spent decades behind bars, who came out talking about second chances and prison reform and helping the homeless. That's the kind of story that we want to believe in. I think many of us do believe in second chances, because if people like him can turn their lives around, it gives the rest of us a little bit of faith that the system doesn't break everybody. But when you look closer to what he was allegedly doing, that hope really falls apart. The feds say that Cedric Dean used homeless people to pull off a massive multi-million-dollar Medicaid fraud scheme. He allegedly used their identities to build for services that never happened, pocketing millions of dollars that meant to help the most vulnerable people in our society. Think about that. Just think about that. These are people who already had nothing. They had no money. There was no home, obviously. They had no voice. He found them on the street and he used them as tools to make money, to buy cars, to buy multiple homes. He used them as tools, faces on fake invoices. That's evil. Evil wrapped up in charity. But that's not redemption. That is extremely criminal entitlement. You don't fix broken systems by becoming a part of the broken system. The worst part of the system, you're robbing the homeless people. When someone spends half of their life locked up, you can't ignore what that does to their moral compass, even before he probably been arrested. Prison doesn't always reform people. Many times it just sharpens the ability to manipulate and commit more crimes. And Cedric Dean seemed like he planned this out like a professional. He played the media with his comeback story, played the community with his activism, and now it looks like he played the feds with their own money. The same government that once gave him a second chance, but they're gonna probably take that back. This case has indictment written all over it. So let's talk about some of the charges that could be coming. If the feds continue to follow through, and most likely they will, here's what Cedric Dean could be facing. Healthcare fraud, that's about 10 years per count. Wire fraud, that's about 20 years per count. Conspiracy to commit fraud, if all these schemes had more than just one person, that's another 5 years. Money laundering from moving that stolen money through accounts, cars, and property to make it look clean, that's up to 20 years. Also, all those assets will be taken away. The feds can seize anything tied to that money, the homes, the cars, the cash, all of it. Add all that together, this man is going to spend the rest of his life in prison. About 20 to 30 years if convicted. Multi-million-dollar scam, he is gonna probably spend the rest of his life in prison. This guy is just another chapter in a long, ugly book of scamming activism. We have seen this too many times. People hiding greed behind good deeds. Churches, nonprofits, politicians, influencers, all pretending to serve the people while they only really care about themselves. Every time one of these stories hits the news, I don't know, I just feel like we're becoming more cynical. You stop believing in charity. You stop believing and trusting movements. You start to assume everyone has an angle. And that's really the real damage, because trust is literally dying. Everyone seems to not believe anyone. And things like this, why would you? Now, some people are going to say, well, he did some good things and maybe he did help a few people along the way, but small good deeds don't erase bad motives. The man stole from many homeless people. He had a second chance, a real shot at changing lives, but instead he allegedly chose to profit off the very people who needed him the most. So whatever legacy he thought he had is completely gone. What's left is a reminder that no matter how nice the message sounds, you have to look at the money, because the money will tell the truth. Cedric Dean could have been an example of redemption. Instead, he's about to be an example of people going back to prison for continuing to commit crimes. I mean, I would love to hear exactly how all of a sudden he started making all this money. The man spent 30 years in prison. All of a sudden he learned how to make millions of dollars legally. We will follow this, and the moment that he does get indicted, we'll be talking about this story. But let me know what you guys think about this situation. Put in the comments below. Thank you for taking time to watch this video, and I'll see you guys in the next video.